All right, welcome guys to the Young Athletic. I am with Mike Moon, Coach Mike Moon, and Coach Marcus Alford.
Yes, sir.
Alford, how you doing today?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a part of the podcast. Have you guys done something like this before?
I have. I actually enjoyed doing it. I talk a lot, so.
Oh, yeah?
This is good.
Actually my first one, but it's funny because me and Coach talked about like starting something like this, and so it's kind of good, perfect timing.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well, glad to have you on. This is the first time talking about football, but coaching is coaching.
Yeah, it is.
So,
for sure.
And you guys have a great reputation for what you do, so I just wanted to have you on and hear what you have to say. So let's talk about your playing experience. If you guys want to start there.
You might want to start with his play.
His playing
I'm more of a
experience?
coach.
Yeah.
All right.
I saw you had some time in the CFL.
Oh yeah. So
How was
actually,
that?
I grew up. I'm actually from Mobile, Alabama.
Okay.
I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I moved here when I was in 4th grade. Played youth football for the North Oxnard Warriors. I went to Real Mesa High School. Played for Coach Moon. Actually, he was my defensive coordinator there. Had a good career there. Was like all county, all league for a couple years. All those type of things, and then I went to Northern Arizona. Received a full ride scholarship there. Had a good career there. I was
Full
actually,
ride?
Yeah.
Wow,
I was
congrats.
actually a 3-time All Conference and 2-time All American there.
Was that your first time in? It's in Flagstaff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
In
go
the
through
snow.
Flagstaff
Yeah, it's
a
cold.
lot.
People always think it's super hot, but no, it's cold.
No, it's an elevation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. And then I actually played 3 years in Canada in the CFL.
How was
and
that?
then that was fun too. It was a different world, but it was a good experience. I loved living out there. I was in Toronto and Ottawa. So yeah, definitely would recommend anyone to visit there if you can. And then following that, led me to coaching and teaching, and that's where we are now.
So you came back to the 805.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This is home.
Did you ever have any desire to go back to Alabama and coach there?
No, I kind of grew up here, so this kind of became
okay.
like my second home.
Okay.
I still have family there. I love it out there. My mom and my aunts, and they live back in the South. They live in Atlanta, Georgia now, though. So my families were kind of split. Some on the West, some in the South. But this is kind of home now. I feel like this is my community. So.
Awesome. And Coach Mike?
In terms of playing, same thing. I grew up in Camarillo mostly and played youth football there. And then I went to Santa Clara, played high school football there in South Oxnard. Played a couple years at Moore Park College. And then I played a year of semi-pro ball. But outside of that, I learned with my size.
It's a big man's game.
And
That's what they say,
didn't
right?
move like Coach Marcus over here. So I realized I was going to be a coach at a young age. So my gears kind of shifted more towards the coaching side of it than the playing side of it. And so here I am, 23 years of coaching.
So did you, I guess, transition pretty quickly from playing to coaching?
Yeah, once you get into college, you know whether you're big enough, fast enough, strong enough or not. Like it's there's no more like we can pretend, and you know what I'm saying. So it's the reality is there's a lot of really good high school football players that get into college and realize that they're not college football players. And I was in that category, and it was very difficult to deal with. But then my mind started paying attention a little bit more to what the coaches were doing, and of course I didn't agree with them because I thought I should be playing, but. The reality is I learned from some guys at that point, and then I just continued to learn. And I think I got into coaching 2 years later after that.
Do you have like a coaching certificates that you started to take or anything like that? Or did you just start right?
Yeah, when you get into coaching, you have to get all those coaching certificates to coach. But at the time, I just kind of realized I was done playing and I wanted to coach, so I just put my name out there, and it was, I guess, close enough from me playing that people still knew who I was in the city of Oxnard. So I was able to get a job, and I think I was 20, and I had to wait till my 21st birthday because you got to be 21 to coach high school. So and I started coaching at 21, and it's been doing it ever since.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What is it? Take a step back. What is it about football that you guys love? Yeah. I've always wanted to play football, but just wasn't in the cards for me.
I think I just love competing, honestly. So growing up, I liked every sport. Like I would play any sport.
Yeah.
I would card games. Like I just like competing. I like to win. It was always something like my mom never had to make me play football. It's just something I wanted to do. I like to compete, and then the older I got, I realized that I wasn't gonna be 6'5", so I probably wasn't gonna play basketball. Wasn't football, it worked out for me, and I was good at it, and I had fun with it, and so I just continued to grow a love for it.
What other sports did you play growing up?
I ran track at Real Mesa. I was part of a really good track program there. Coach Fitz. A lot of.
What did you run?
Run the 100 or in the 200. I did the relays.
Yeah,
I also played basketball like in middle school. That was actually my first sport, really. Played basketball, football, track. I tried baseball when I was younger. Just a competitive guy.
Yeah. Did you play anything else besides football?
Yeah, in youth, I actually didn't play football until I was in 7th grade. So in youth, I did soccer. I didn't do basketball, soccer, baseball. I was a big baseball guy, and then ran track in high school. So I love competing too. I think if your question is like what specifically about like football versus other sports, I think something very specific is like there's a bunch of team sports, right? Like baseball's a team sport, soccer's a team sport, and the reality is you need the other members of the team to do well. But in football, it's more of a direct relationship, right? You know what I'm saying? So, like in baseball, you need your teammates to hit the ball to do well or whatever. You need to catch the ball. But for us, it's more of okay, your offensive line has to block for the guy behind him, and if they don't do their job,
it's like a chain reaction.
Not only does he not get any yards and we can't move the ball, but he could potentially get hurt. So you're more relying on them not only, for success in the game and the competitive nature, but we're relying on them physically too. Like my physical well-being is directly related on how well my teammate does his job right now. And not that there's not sports like that, but that's very specific to football. Whether I get hurt or not, it can be based on that man's effort. And so obviously you want to win, and that's the priority. But on top of that, it's like you got to keep your guys healthy and do all these things. So if he takes the play off, that could be my, that one play that I get injured on or so on and so forth. So I think that's a little bit more specific to football. That's not other sport related. Not that you can't get hurt in other sports by them not doing their job, but it's directly related to what your teammate is doing next to you.
That's something like for someone who never played football, like I had no idea that was so important.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, and there's like in soccer, you can roll up on your teammates and hurt them and stuff like that. But it's very specific. These guys are trying to hurt this guy back here, and I got to stop him.
It's not
from
dependent.
Doing that.
Like
if I take that day off, that play off, that kid's getting hurt for sure.
Yeah.
So it's more than just performance based. If you will, the teamwork, that type of thing. So, but yeah, and on top of that, it's the violence is pretty awesome.
The aggressiveness.
You get violence as hockey and things like that, but just where you're really rewarded for being, playing in a violent nature. Not nasty, not like dirty, but just violent.
And some kids need to express themselves that way.
A lot of kids need to express themselves that way. Yeah, they need to have that outlet, if you will. Until they get old enough to mature and learn how to deal with it in different ways. It's a great outlet for a lot of kids that have that I won't say violent nature in a bad way. I know a lot of people think of it a bad way, but some people are just I'm naturally a violent person, but not dirty but just naturally violent. So I kind of enjoy the violence of it.
What position did you play? Or how does it work in football? You play at both sides of the ball?
A guy like Marcus is going to play the same positions all the way through. I played,
it varies though.
Yeah, in youth, I played anywhere from D-line, linebacker. I was always some type of a running back. Yeah. One year I played a quarterback because there was no other quarterback. But
yeah, I would have loved to play quarterback.
Yeah, same here. Like when I was little, I was like a running back. Usually the fastest guy on the field when you're in youth football, you put him at running back, let him run around.
Yeah.
Got to high school, I was still real slim build. Actually, like one of my trainer mentors, Juju, if anyone's watching this, Juju, he actually convinced me to start playing receiver my freshman year of high school. So that was like a receiver. I played DB. That was my thing. I get moved up to varsity my sophomore year with Coach Moon. Coach Moon's like a defensive coach, a DB guy, right? So he throws me at corner, right? And I'm cool. I love playing both sides of the ball. And I'm realizing within my team, like it's a track school, so we have a ton of receivers, ton of fast guys. I'm younger, so it might be wiser for me to, hone in and focus on playing defense earlier in the year. And I was cool with that. I wasn't like down or complaining about that. I was like, okay, man, I'm gonna be playing corner, so I'm gonna go on YouTube. I'm gonna research the best corners in college football, the best guys that are built like me. How do they play, and apply that to my game. And I think a lot of young kids can learn from that too. You may get to a school where there's a ton of good players, right? You might be somewhere where there's 20 other guys that have talent, real talent. and you might not just be able to be the man and do exactly what you want to do. So you kind of have to trust your coaching and buy into their scheme.
Adjust.
Yeah, buy into how they want you to fit into their scheme and make the most of that. Like we had a kid that came to our school at the end of his freshman year, and he came as like a receiver. Like he wanted to be a receiver. That was his thing.
Well, a couple years ago,
yeah. And then so we let him do his thing, right? We worked out with him a couple of times, and we kind of started to preach it to him in his head that you can be a big time defensive back. Like we see something in you there. Like you can play receiver too, but we want you to take this serious. And a few years later, fast forward, and he's now at USC playing defensive back. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that goes into just trusting the process and trusting the game plan.
You know, I was looking at you guys' Twitter feed, and it was a bunch of like. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was Twitter or Instagram, but it was like a bunch of college coaches coming down to your school and
for sure.
looking at players.
Yeah.
What's that experience like? How's that feel?
Yeah, I mean it's been like that for a while now. The hardest part I think for us. So I've been at Pacifica for I think it was our 11th season. So I was at Real Mesa where he was at, and we had a lot of success at Real Mesa sending kids to college. And it's all about relationships. It's all about how good the kids are and how that you're coaching, right? If you don't have kids that are next level guys, then they're not going to come. So it was just a matter of transitioning kind of what we were doing at Real Mesa. And then I was an assistant coach to, okay, now we have to bring it over to this other school that hasn't had a lot of success on a football field. And then bring the attention kind of over there and build it up. And then we had to, have athletes that brought the colleges in. So, fast forward 11 years later, I think last year, I think we had close to 90 college visits, over the year. That doesn't mean 90 schools, but 90 visits. So maybe one school comes 5 times or, whatever it is. So, but the reality is it's a weird time right now. I know you said you're a soccer guy, so it's a different, although there is a portal in college soccer too, but there's something called a transfer portal in college that's really affecting recruiting of high school age athletes. And so it's never been more critical to play at the right high school where you're going to actually get recruited. They used to say like, oh, if you're a baller, you can play anywhere. And that used to be true before the transfer portal. Now it's so specific, and the college coaches only have this much time.
So has it made it harder or easier?
Harder
for athletes and coaches?
It's made it way harder. Yeah.
Really?
Like, for example, this week, I was just talking to him. Normally we'd have, first couple weeks in December is the time that the colleges come out to the schools. I mean, last year, I think in this week and next week, the second week of December, last year, I think we had like 14 colleges. This week, we've only had 4. And it's 4 days into the week, but I was talking to Coach Collins, actually, the Christian coach today. He's like, man, the portal's killing this first week of December recruiting. I'm like, oh, man, that's what it was, It's like normally it's a really busy week for us, but the reality is the colleges are focusing on the kids in the transfer portal. And hopefully they get that done this week, and then next week they'll give us our time.
So the kids that are already in college.
Correct.
I see.
So then they're in this portal, and then they're just basically selecting kids from the portal. So and it's a cheaper way of recruiting. Like, first of all, they already know what they got because the kid has college grades, college film, has been coaching the college. Mm-hmm. So they know the kid's going to be successful of some sorts. I mean, the second part is to coach high school, you got to get in the airplane. To recruit high school, you got to fly out to LA. Then you got to get in a rental car. You got to drive to all the different high schools. So on top of it being, I would say, on top of it costing more money, it just takes more time.
Yeah.
Instead of just, logging in the transfer portal, communicating with the guys in college, maybe kind of touching base with your college connections, see how they did, or talk to maybe a coaching staff on their on their previous college coaching staff. It's just kind of changed the dynamic. So that's saying a lot to say a little, but the reality is it's very important right now to get those college coaches on our campus, whereas we kind of took it for granted over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Now it's like, it's like every time they come, it's a big deal. Like
the relationships that you have with like college coaches is like even more important now because like in the past, schools would kind of make their rounds, right? They're gonna visit each area in California. They're gonna visit all of the schools in the area, right? But now to where they have the transfer portal, they only have to take a couple of high school kids. So really, if you don't have like a good relationship with that college coach, he may not, or his school may not come to your school. You know what I mean? But if we do have relationships with certain schools, they're always going to stop by and recruit our guys and stuff like that. But not every school has that access, so it's even tougher for
crazy time, man. I mean, it goes. I mean, we could talk about the transfer portal and its effect on high school recruiting for 5 hours, but I mean, that's how it's affected those visits. If you
know, I've always thought about it from the college student perspective, how it would be easier for them to navigate. And like if they're at a bad school or a bad situation with a bad coach and they want to get out of there, it gives them more freedom to leave.
Exactly.
But it's harder for the high school athlete. Yeah. I hadn't thought about the high school athlete.
No, you know that's correct. There is a punishment for transferring in high school, but sometimes you have to weigh the pros and the cons. And I'm not talking about like transferring to Pacifica. You know what I'm saying? But like I've seen it time and time again. Of okay, all right. I'm in a situation where I don't think it's right for me or whatever, you know? And it could be, we could be talking about kids in our program, right? That just, it's not right for them. And they're better off transferring out of our program and doing something better. And sometimes they're correct. They're right. You know what I'm saying? And so, okay, yeah, they could stay with us and play all the games with no penalty, or they can go somewhere where it might be better off for them. And maybe they have to sit 5 games, you know, 5 of the 10 games. So although we try to do everything in our power that the kids don't do that when they leave our program, but that's not the case all around. So sometimes, yeah, because of the importance of the types of things that we're talking about, it's really, really important. And maybe you make a decision as a family, right? Maybe it's the wrong decision. Like, are you going to say, okay, I'm going to stay put, or am I going to make a move because I think it's better? And I think all kids need to do what's best for them. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, in our program, I don't want anybody to leave, but they feel like going to a different program is better for them, then they should definitely do that, even if they do have to sit out where they go.
Would you say most of the kids at your school and playing football want to go to the next level and play college?
Most?
I want to say that we keep it real with the kids.
Yeah,
so we give them the rundown from when they first get to the school. They know what colleges look for. They know the breakdowns of what attributes you need to have if you want to play college football, which different levels of college football you might fall into. And so the kids kind of know
early.
They're realistic with themselves. We break down the academic side of it, and so they know if they're the type of student that can play in college. And so it kind of gives them a more realistic approach to the entire thing.
To answer that, I think more than half of our kids come into our program thinking that they're coming into our program to play on the next level.
Okay.
Some of them figure it out. That's really what they want to do, and they're going to do everything we tell them to do from jump. Some of them don't want to hold up to their end of the bargain academically.
Yeah.
And then right then and there, we're going to tell them, okay, you're not on our prospect list. You know, like if you're failing classes, like you're done. Like you're not done permanently, but until you make up those classes, you're not on a prospect list. Some don't want to, do the correct things when the college coaches are coming. Some don't want to do the social media interaction. So we find out really early. I always say, like, don't talk about it, be about it, right? So a lot of kids talk about, I'm coming to Pacifica to play on the next level. Yeah. And then there's us challenging them to be about it. Okay, so if you want to play on the next level, we're going to do exactly what we promised to do, but you have to do exactly what you need to do to get there. Because we can't just help a kid that's failing half his classes, right? We can't help a kid that's not following we call it a formula, right? We have a recruiting formula at Pacifica High School, and it maybe not all the schools do it our way, but we do it our way. And we enlighten them, we enlighten the parents, and it's on them to follow our formula if they really want to play the next level. So the answer is yes, more than half. But when it gets down to it, we end up having anywhere from 3 to 9 guys sign, and then maybe a handful of kids going to junior college. So if we have 30 seniors, 15 will probably, 10 to 15 will probably keep playing, and 15 won't. So it comes out to about half,
And it's like a reality thing. It gives a kid can't say like, man, like my coaches didn't promote me or they didn't do all they could for me. So it's like we give them all of the access to everything they need. We have college coaches around them, watching them on a regular basis. We're on top of their schoolwork. We provide them with everything they need in order to get to that level. So they can't really say that they didn't have the opportunity to fulfill all of their goals because we're putting that in front of them. So it's like a reality type thing.
And then on top of it too, I kind of joked about myself, right, compared to Marcus over here, but like, you got to grow, you got to get faster, you got to be naturally talented, you got to,
some kids mature quickly.
You can get in the weight room and you can work hard and do all those things, but in terms of being like an elite next level guy, like some are going to have it, some aren't going to have it, and we're going to find opportunities for kids that may not be 6'2" or may not be as fast as Marcus, or you know what I'm saying? But the reality is you have to do all the right things to get to even that level, to a Division III level or Division II level or NAI level. So yeah, the opportunity's there, and we joke all the time, like it's like, oh, so-and-so should have come to our school and didn't come to our school, and sometimes we joke around about it. It's like, well, the reality is that we're going to be honest with them, and we're gonna really challenge them, and we're going to do our part. And if the kid doesn't make it, then he's going to have to turn around and look at it on himself. Versus maybe he doesn't come, and maybe he goes somewhere where he can blame a coach, or he can blame somebody else, or blame exposure, or lack of exposure, and wrong system. But at that point, you got to kind of look at yourself and say, hey, look, these are the decisions that we needed to make to get there, and maybe that was the wrong decision. So, and then again, it's not the perfect decision for everybody at our program. Maybe they're better off in a different program. So, but you gotta kind of figure out, not only football-wise, but recruiting-wise and whatever else the school has, and then we live in a day and age where any 8th grader can go to whatever school they want to. I mean, that's the honest truth. We have boundaries and things like that, but there's school of choice, there's interdistrict transfers, there's all kinds of stuff. So the reality is you just want to make the right decisions, and then we have to make sure we do our part. And then, again, the other high school coaches have to make sure they do their part too. So that way, you want to make sure that every kid gets the opportunity. Fortunately, it's not always like that, but I feel like in our city, it's getting more like that. So that's a positive thing in Oxnard. We have some solid coaches going on right now, and I think it's good right now for kids in our city to have the opportunity to do well and then to get out from there. So
yeah, well, speaking of doing well, I heard you guys got your first state championship.
Yeah, that was a
years
couple
ago.
That was big.
Yeah.
That was 2019.
How was that?
Yeah, that was a special group.
Were you both? You were the coach. Were you there at that point?
That was actually my first year coaching. I was still in the process of contemplating if I wanted to keep playing football, if I wanted to stop. Coach Moon actually brought it to me one day. It was the year prior to that, he offered me like a coaching job, and I was like kind of not really sure about it. So in the following year, he came to me again, and I was like, I might as well try it out. And I didn't really even know like how it would be or anything. I was like, okay, cool. Do you want me to help on the freshman team or the JV team? What do you want me to do? He's like, no, you're coaching varsity. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. So I come to practice one day, and I see all of these kids. I'm like, oh, this is not the Pacifica I remember. There's a lot of ballers here. And then sure enough, we had a special year. We went 15-1. I won the CIF state championship. I think first public school in Ventura County to do that, to win a state championship. That was special, and ever since then we've been trying to get back to that point. And as you can see, it's very tough to do. It's tough to get back to that point. But
there's a reason why we were the first public school in history.
Yeah. So what was that year like? Was it you had good players? Was it the other teams weren't as good? Like,
tell them about the road that group went through to get to that point.
Yeah, so I mean, it was twofold. Obviously, to win a state championship, you got to have good players. So first and foremost, we had a great group of kids, and the road was long. So I knew a lot of those kids. My son was part of the group, so that was kind of a big draw. I think I kind of joked around like whenever coaches have an opportunity to coach their sons friends kind of know them already, right, from just being the dad or whatever. So I think that kind of helped us get a good amount of talent in there, kind of everybody. But the reality was we I won't get into the specifics of why we moved up so many guys their sophomore year. We ended up losing a bunch of seniors that were studs for us, and let's just say they stopped playing. Let's just say that. So they stopped playing for us, and we were counting on them. And there was 4 guys, and there were 2A guys. So that's 8 positions, right, that we lost. So we're like, all right, are we gonna
This is the championship year?
This is when they were sophomores.
Yeah. So 2 years prior to that.
Okay.
That's really when the whole process started.
Okay.
And so we said, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to keep these guys, on the JV team or whatever, and we're going to just play with who we have minus those 8 positions, 4 guys? And we said, okay, we definitely need a couple of the guys. And so let's just move the whole group up since they're so talented. They're undersized, but they're talented. And let's see what we can do.
And they're together.
And they're together, right? And they've been together for a while. They kind of grew up together. They play youth football together, and which is unusual in this day and age, right? For groups to kind of grow up together and so on and so forth. So we took it in the shorts, man. We went 2-9. The only reason we even made the playoffs is because a team had to forfeit their losses, so we ended up making the playoffs. So we lost another game in the playoffs. But the reality is they got a lot of necessary game experience early, right?
Yeah.
They're all, and our kids don't do the hold back thing. So when they're 15, when they're sophomores, they're 15. They're not 16. They're not 17 like some of these other schools. So these are young, undersized kids, and we just kind of threw them out there in the fire. And they didn't do well, although there was snippets of greatness and like, wow, that was an explosive play. That was a great play. And we played a lot of really good teams close, but we went 2-9. Fast forward to the next year, basically the same group together again, minus a couple guys. And we ended up going 11-2.
Yeah.
We went 11-2.
Semifinal.
Went to the semifinal, 1 touchdown. We call it a bad call because we scored the touchdown and they called it back.
Oh, no. What happened?
Our kid, we have a
Big
kid,
six.
Noah Williams. He's
Yeah.
at Cal right now. He had an interception, ran it all the way back, and a bogus. I still remember the
Clipping
play. It was just a
call.
bogus
Yeah,
clipping
yeah.
call.
Away
what
from
is-
the play.
What is clipping?
It's like when you
They actually said a guy that was blocking kind of like fell down in front of a defender running after the ball carrier.
Okay.
So it wasn't even clipping. Like that was like, okay, explain it to me. And so that's why it was so bogus because he wasn't even in front of him. He just kind of went. He just kind of like went down and went. And the other guy fell over him. That's not a clipping call, and we ended up losing by a touchdown. So it's brutal. So we started the very next year, this group senior year, and we showed them the score of that last game, right? And it was just like, hey, do we want this feeling again? And I tell you, man, these guys did everything they could to win a championship that year. And then we always joke about the football gods, right? Like all the stars have to align.
Yeah, you have to get lucky sometimes
to win a championship, And so, and part of that is staying healthy, And we ended up losing to our rival that year, which ended up being a blessing,
being a good thing, yeah.
a blessing in disguise. But our guys stayed healthy. They worked hard. They did what they were supposed to do, and they had 3 years of experience. The same football team, and to be able to coach the same team, minus a handful of key guys every year, for 3 straight years is really unusual in today's day and age, right? In any sport, especially in public school. And it was basically the same core
And that school,
group of
and that
players.
team was loaded. They averaged like 50 points a game.
Yeah.
I think 8 of them went on to play college football.
Oh, well,
8 of the seniors, not even including the juniors.
9 signed.
Yeah.
But there was a handful that could have that chose to go junior college instead. I think in that particular group, we might have had like 19 or 20 guys continue to play football, including 9 going to 4-year universities right out of high school.
So now they're making plays at Cal and Fresno State and UCLA and Arizona State.
Yeah, so exciting group. So it goes back to having really good players, right? And then it goes back to having the same group for 3 years.
Yeah.
Same group, same coaches, same scheme, same kids. Them getting bigger, faster, stronger, and then getting more and more hungry, right? Coming up short this year, and then coming up short this year. You get that hunger to win it, And then on top of that, they did what they needed to do to prepare their bodies in the off season. They stayed healthy. Football guys were with us. The stars aligned, and we ended up winning some big games down the stretch and won a state championship. So.
Who was the championship game against?
It was against McClymonds from Oakland.
Yeah.
They're it's like one of the powerhouses up there in Northern California.
This is Northern and Southern California.
Yeah.
Oh, because usually sometimes it's just Southern
so
California.
you
I think in sports like soccer and other sports where they play the sport at different seasons,
Yeah.
you can't have a state champion, right?
I see.
So the Southern champion is the state champion.
Yeah.
In football, in all 50 states, all football teams play the same season, same night, same time. It's just all across the
So
country.
it's really a state champion.
Friday
Yeah.
at 7. Yeah. So you play for the Southern Regional like the other sports do that have different,
Yeah.
And then the winner of that then plays the Northern Regional.
Yeah.
And so
And this is big schools. You guys
Yeah.
are.
So it was
we were Division 2A.
2A.
2A. There's
It was like the 4th highest state championship, I think. or something
Yeah,
like
there's 1A, 1AA, 2A, 2AA,
something like that.
3A, 3AA, all the way down
that. In
to
the
7.
open division. Yeah.
So there's 14 different divisions. We were in, I guess, 1A, 1AA, 2A, I think the 3rd division or 4th division, something like that. So considered large schools, but not the biggest, right?
Yeah.
The biggest schools.
Big enough.
And having that success in that year, though, has bumped us now to
Yeah, we
now
play better and
We're in
better,
the upper echelon of competition, and it's tougher. And we still have the kid. We have the talent to compete with all of those top teams. it's just a little tougher to stay healthy now.
Yeah.
The kids are a little stronger, a little bigger. So
playing a more physical schedule.
Yeah, it makes your depth a little more important.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure. And then so in football, you play for a sectional, just kind of like other sports. You play for the sectional one. So we played Lucerna in the sectional, and they're playing for a state championship this weekend.
Oh yeah.
And then we ended up beating them. Then we beat Birmingham in the Southern Regional. They're playing for a state championship this weekend.
Yeah.
And then we played McClymonds. And I think are they playing? Did they make it? Anyway.
Yeah, they're playing this weekend.
Yeah, so
Are they,
all three of those final three teams were all playing for state champ, but we're not.
Yeah, it hurts.
Are there sort of
Still
typical schools that are successful like that with good programs and good recruiting?
Yeah, especially in California. Yeah. Well, the number 1 and number 2 team in the country, like annually, are in our section. And so
who's are those?
St. John Bosco and Mater Dei.
Those are like the top 2 teams.
Top 2 teams in the country.
Where are those schools?
Orange County area, Bellflower, and then Orange County, Santa Ana.
Okay.
Yeah. And so those 2 teams, and then like I said, there tends to be the same type schools. And now there's different schools that make it this year, that year, but you'll see. Preseason rankings, it'll have the same.
And those teams they're going to be at the top like year in and year out. And there's like even more schools than just those 2. And they kind of like with private schools like that, they kind of get their pick of kids from different areas and surrounding areas from their school. And it's kind of like cool what we're doing. It's kind of amazing that we're doing it with Oxnard kids. Like, I mean, Oxnard's always had talent forever in every sport, not just football, but totally. Football for sure. And it's kind of crazy that we're like the platform that we're kind of helping it get to. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, like when I was growing up, it was like you would think like you have to go to this school, you have to go out of the city to this area or to this private school to get notoriety, to get seen and stuff like that. But now it's like, man, you have Pacifica right here in the city. I mean, kids are getting to the next level each and every year from right here in the city, going to a public school for free. So it's pretty cool playing top tier football, playing against the top programs, and so it's a pretty dope thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you say Pacifica is sort of the top team in the region of the 805 plus?
Well, they have like a VCS Preps Ventura County Star. They have like ratings.
Okay.
And we were pretty much number 1 for most of the year. We ended the year number 1, but we lost in the playoffs first round. I think 2 schools in Ventura County won the CIF, so we can't say that we're the best this year. But I mean, but we're up and coming still. We have a lot of good young talent, and so we're gonna be around for a long time.
I can't say we're the best team this year, but we did beat 2 CIF champions this year. So
feels good.
We'll say that positively, but kudos to them for actually winning it. We didn't win it this year, so more motivation for next year.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do they have like in soccer, we have club soccer that goes year round. Do they have something like that for football?
They don't. They have. It's called 7-on-7.
Okay.
It would be our version of club. But so I realized. So I have a kid that plays basketball, right? And so basketball has this club scene. The difference you got to understand with football versus to compare it to a soccer, right? Or a basketball or a baseball, right? The club scene has so much to do with recruiting, right? Like in soccer, you're getting recruited to maybe professional clubs or Division I schools or Division II schools or whatever. In football, that is all done through the school. It's all done through the high school.
Yeah.
So if there is clubs that are doing it, okay, they don't have the power that, let's say, a soccer club would, because a soccer club has the power because the college coaches or the the academy coaches or the pro scouts are coming to the club coach, maybe not necessarily the high school coach.
Yeah. Okay.
Where in football, they're coming to the high school coach, and they're not going to the club coach.
So it's really the best way of recruiting is through high school.
In football.
Yeah,
but it's not like that in every sport. So that is why during COVID, when they shut us down, we're going to make these club football teams and it's going to be better than high school. No, it's not. Like, it's not. Because at the end of the day, the colleges are going to come talking to us. We have the funding. We have the, you know what I'm saying? Football's an expensive sport. If you don't have the backing of a school district or private school tuition, you're not going to have the transportation of 60 kids. You're not going to have the helmets, the shoulder pads, those type of things.
Yeah, it's a lot of equipment.
So you need the backing for it, right? And then, of course, if the college coaches are talking to the high school coach, what do you need a club coach for? But again, I know firsthand in the basketball world, it's not like that. We know soccer. Pacific is a soccer school, so we're really close with our soccer coaches at the high school, and they kind of tell us what it's like, and we were talking earlier about the whole club scene and, like the great,
The high school coaches sort of got undercut because the best
Club
players
soccer.
can't play high school.
Yeah,
They can only
that's
play
that's
club.
the case at our school. We have a phenomenal soccer team at Pacifica.
Yeah.
And that's without, sometimes some of the best soccer players at our school who are playing for clubs or pro teams or academies or whatever they're called. And me as a football coach, I'm like, oh man, it makes me cringe. I want those kids to play for their neighborhood. I want them to play for their city and put on for their city.
Playing high school sports is special, You
It's
wouldn't want to take that away from somebody.
and like I said, my kid plays basketball and plays the club scene, and that's great. And some of the best basketballs played in these, gyms with 8 basketballs and there's barely room for 2 parents to sit down. But then, you get to play in these beautiful basketball gyms in high school and, supported by the community and your classmates get to watch you. So, yes, one is to get a scholarship, I guess, or to be seen, and then the other one is to represent your neighborhood and represent your city, So, I have trouble with that part of it being a football guy. Yeah. But I guess if I grew up in the soccer world, I guess I would accept it a little bit more. Yeah. But I always joke with our soccer coach. I'm like, not joke with him. I'm like, that sucks. He's like, I know it does. I'm like, it just doesn't sit right with me.
I feel like it happened like 10 years ago, that switch.
That's a bummer, man. You know?
Maybe 8 to 10 years ago they said.
And I understand you don't want the kids to get hurt and stuff like that, but just imagine winning a state championship for your high school team and playing for the club, and you know what I'm saying? And it's something that we know that the kids can do. Yeah. And yes, every time they step on the soccer field, they can risk getting hurt. I get that too,
Yeah, but...
Yeah. But what's the right answer? I don't know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we switch gears to a controversial topic that came out a few days ago?
Sure.
How you guys feeling about FSU being left out of the college playoffs?
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely tough for them. I mean, I feel for them. They were undefeated.
You agree with it?
I do.
I mean, they were undefeated. Yeah. They were 13-0, and so I get that. I would be mad if I was them. I mean, it's tough. But, I mean, football's a team sport, but the quarterback position is kind of like the most important position on the field. And they lost their starting quarterback. And if you've, seen their last couple of games, they haven't been, the same team. And the team that they were kind of up against, for battling for that last spot in the college football playoff was Alabama, who had just beaten the top team in the nation, Georgia.
And Coach so Marcus' favorite team.
Yeah, and I'm from there, so it's my team. And so I can't ask. So you. I mean, I feel like Alabama's a better team than Florida State right now. So I have to agree with it. I feel like it's justified.
I have a different take on it. I don't think you can use the quarterback argument. And the reason being is there's supposed to be a formula, right? So if there's supposed to be a formula, at no point in the formula is like, oh, your starting quarterback got hurt. That's not part of the formula, right? So you can't use that in the reasoning of them being out. What I do think is, I think we've established that there's a number one conference in the United States, and that is the SEC. That is the toughest conference to play college football, and a lot of other sports too, because there's so much financial backing behind that conference, right? Yeah. And so, the kids are getting paid in every sport, So how can you say the team that won by far the hardest conference in college football does not have a representative in the playoffs? I don't think you can. I think more people would be upset if there was not an SEC team in the playoff than there is with the FSU. Mm-hmm. Now, if the best team in the SEC had 2 losses, I think that's null and void, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but you got to understand that they had 1 loss against an elite team. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Against Texas.
But the injuries do matter. We know this firsthand. This season, we lost some key guys.
Yeah.
3 or 4 of our top players on our football team, which made a drastic difference in our season. We feel like we could have ran the table if we had our full team. So,
but for argument's purposes, you can't factor that in.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is this: I think, are they going to play Georgia?
They played Georgia.
So I think the positive that
who's playing Georgia?
Florida State.
Florida State is
well, that'll be decided then.
So Georgia didn't make it either. Obviously, they came up short. They lost 1 to Alabama at the end. Although they were number 1 the whole year, and so the reality is if Florida State beats Georgia and they finish 14-0. I think they'll have the right of calling themselves a national champion. So we could have 2 national champions. That's the way. If I was a Florida State fan, I would be like, all right, it sucks that they didn't make it in. I'd be upset. I'd be pissed. Yeah. But I'd be like, all right, well, if they beat Georgia, then we really have an argument, and we'll just call ourselves a mythical national champion, like Central Florida did a couple years ago. before that was how it was, right? Like you could have 2 national champions because if there was 2 polls having 2 different undefeated teams because they didn't play each other, right?
But let's say they lose to Georgia, right? And let's say Alabama wins a national championship. Like that's kind of justified.
It's justified. So I think it all will play. I think Florida State fans have a right to be upset. You play to be undefeated. You play to make it in there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're going to have an opportunity. Last time I checked, the bowl game that they're playing in is going to have a similar payout to a BC, to a Final Four bowl game. They won't play 2 of the games, right? But if they lost the first round, they wouldn't play 2 anyway. So they'll have an opportunity to really kind of stamp their argument or kind of prove that Alabama should have been in. So.
Yeah, I just think if it's sports and you got to give them a chance, you know.
So who would you take out?
Ooh, maybe Texas. I know they beat Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, but I would even me being an Alabama fan, if they would have got in over Texas, I wouldn't have felt right about that.
Yeah,
like they both had 1 loss. Texas beat Alabama. So I feel like that's what pushed Florida State out because after Alabama beat Georgia, the committee they have to put Alabama in. Like they won the SEC.
Yeah.
Texas beat Alabama, so it's like they kind of bumped Florida State out.
And then Texas's championship game was pretty.
Yeah, they blew out the team they played. I think it was Oklahoma State.
They blew out Oklahoma State, and Florida State didn't blow out their team.
Yeah.
I think that was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
I think if Florida State would have blown out, who did they play in the
Louisville?
ACC. They played Louisville, and I don't want to say struggle, but they didn't.
Yeah,
win.
it was like a sloppy
and Texas slaughtered Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when you're in those arguments. I mean, in high school football, you try not to run up the score, right? But in college football, it's about run up the score and leave no doubt.
Exactly.
So it's like Texas left no doubt.
Texas blew this team out, and they beat Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia, who was on a 29-game win streak. Georgia won the last 2 national championships. That was like the best team in the nation. They lost to Alabama. Alabama was pretty much leading the entire game. So it's like, is the committee not going to put either of those teams? They're going to leave the SEC out of the playoffs.
And if they would have put Florida State and took Texas out, I think I would have been okay with it. I just think they made the right decision.
Yeah.
I think for arguments purposes, I think 13-0 versus I get it, right? But I mean, I watched that last Texas game. Wow,
but
they look pretty
you can say the injuries don't matter, but if they had their QB, I think they would have got in. They wouldn't have any excuse to not put them in. They would have had to.
That's interesting if that played a factor. It's not supposed to, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. You can't say it's human. It's there's a human component to it, right? So you can't say it didn't play a factor at all.
Yeah.
But I think it's there's always some kind of right when we get to this point in the year every year, number 5 always gets left out. So
Yeah.
And this particular year there's 5 and there's 2 teams. Georgia can't get in, right? They lost to Alabama. I understand that. But they're still 12-1, whatever they are. The only team that they lost to was Alabama, which was a close game in the SEC championship. So it's almost the way I'm looking at it. There's 6 teams. Florida State will have the opportunity to really prove their case. And now Georgia can't win a mythical national championship because they already have a loss.
Yeah.
So now FSU finishes 14-0 and beats Georgia. Everybody's going to say this year, okay, the winner of the Final Four is definitely national championship. But yeah, Florida State has a right to call themselves national championship. Shoot, I wasn't mad when Central Florida said that.
They claimed the championship.
Who did they beat? Somebody really good.
I think Auburn. They beat Auburn in the bowl game.
But
and Auburn had beat Alabama, and Alabama ended up winning the championship.
Slaughtered Auburn.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, go ahead, call yourselves national champions. I'm okay with it. And if you go to the school, they have things that says national champion. Yeah. So. That doesn't bother me.
Florida State should do that.
You're 14-0. You beat Auburn in a bowl game. Yeah, I agree with you.
And it's not right because they're in the ACC. That's like a Power 5 conference. So if you go undefeated in that, regardless, if your guy's hurt or not, I mean, if I was their coach, I would say you didn't really give us the chance to adjust without our QB in the playoffs. You're kind of downgrading our coaching.
This is the flaw I feel in the system. There's 5 Power 5 conferences. There's 4 spots.
Yeah.
It was flawed from the creation of it, right?
So next year should be better.
Next year everybody will get.
Now next year there's only going to be four conferences. So the year
there's 12 spots next year.
There's going to be 12 spots for 4 conferences, and then for the past handful of years there's been 4 spots for 5 conferences.
At least the undefeated team will never get left out.
I feel like the winner of every conference should have an argument for a spot. Why would they not? You won the conference. Why should you not be in the Final Four, right?
Are you guys more fans of college football or pro football?
College. I don't watch pro football.
I really
No?
like college football better. I watch both, but I really like college more. It just feels like more passion. It feels like it just feels like I like the vibe better. And plus, we have a ton of guys playing college football now, so I like to watch that. It gives us something more to watch.
Yeah, I'm not a big NFL fan. I feel like it's so different than high school, right? Like college is like the next step up, and then pro is like so different than high school football. I'm not saying I won't watch it if it's on, but like, you know, when we do our weekend breakdown for our opponent or whatever, I watch college football on Saturday. And like you said, we have a bunch of guys playing, so we want to watch them. And then on Sunday, I'll do all my film breakdown and everything instead of watching pro football. So
Really?
it's just, yeah. So it's just, you know, I grew up loving pro football and college football, but once I got into coaching, I just kind of focused more on college.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I love.
So not even like a favorite football team, like a Niners or Rams or
Yeah, I like the Baltimore
Chargers,
Ravens, but
Ravens.
I like Lamar Jackson. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
I like Lamar too.
if he went to the Chargers, I might go. I might be a Chargers fan.
I don't have. The last time I had a favorite team was the Buccaneers when Tony Dungy was the coach. That was the last time. So I'm just.
What about the is it the Cowboys that come to Oxnard every year?
Oh yeah, they do.
You guys get involved with that any time?
Can somebody get the word out to them that I've been trying for a couple of years to get one of the guys to come and talk to our guys during camp. I know they get some downtime in camp, so I know those NFL practices aren't that tough. So.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to go watch them? Like
Yeah, for sure. But the problem is, like, they kind of practice at the same time as us usually.
Practice,
Like, in the summer.
They practice the same exact.
We
time.
practice in the mornings in the summer, and they practice in the mornings
Yeah.
in August. So it's like it's kind of tough.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've been. Last time I went to a camp, they used to have the high schools like serve the food for the spectators and stuff. That was like a fundraiser.
A lot of other teams go and watch them because most teams in the summer practice like in the afternoon still. But since at our school, most of our coaches are like teachers or work on campus, so we're all out of school at the same time as the kids. So we just practice in the morning and get it out the way. So.
And let the kids have their summer still, you know, like so we're still doing what we need to do, and then they can still have those few weeks of summer still.
Do your kids ever ask like, "Hey, can we go watch Cowboys today?"
Not too much, and our kids they travel around and they take so many visits and stuff to where they get exposed to a lot of stuff. They go to a lot of college games and college practices, and so I'm not gonna say they're used to it, but they're and once it gets to August, they're kind of locked in on the season.
Yeah, and we don't do anything on the weekends. So if they really want to go, some of our they'll just go on the weekend practice.
Okay.
So I can't. The kids that are Cowboy fans that want to go get to go, but they find out really quickly that it's not the same as high school football. They're professionals, right? And most of the times they don't have their pads on. They don't make a lot of contact. These are professional
Totally
athletes.
different practice.
Yeah. So it's for some it's
different world than our
not as
practices,
entertaining as watching even a high school practice. 'Cause let's be honest, an NFL practice is somewhat boring.
Yeah, that's mellow. It's a 180 from our practice.
Walk over here and then walk over there. Like in high school, you're running here, running there. You know what I'm saying? So it's different, but it's good for them to see how big, fast, and strong those guys are. Because I'm going to play in the NFL and they're my size, right? It's like no, like those guys, they're not that much bigger than me. Yes, they are. Yeah, they are.
And they're faster
yeah,
too.
and they're stronger and all of it. So these are the most elite.
They're athletes.
Female are athletes on any level of football. So it's it's nice for them to see that and to see exactly how elite they are. Be 6'8" and moving like that, 300 pounds and still moving. It just amazes me sometimes. So
yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So no Cowboy visits, huh?
Yeah. I'm not a big.
A couple of years ago, I think I went to a couple of practices, but yeah.
What about like you said your kids are traveling and seeing colleges. Do they get approached by any of the NIL stuff? Are they trying to make any money on the side?
So our kids that are in college already, or the kids that are in high school?
In high school.
I don't know if I think that's all kind of new, and I don't know if a lot of people know the rules. You know what I'm saying?
From what I understand, high school athletes in California can get paid.
True.
Yeah, but like there's certain guidelines and rules to it, to where we kind of like encourage our kids to just wait until you get to college to go down that road. Yeah, just because like you don't know, there's certain stuff that is illegal for you to do, like photo shoots or just different things, to where you kind of don't even want to play that game with CIF.
So here's the conflict in high school. So it's something that we dealt with, right? So there was let's just say an organization wants to sponsor or wants to use your kids for advertisement, right? And then they'll give them free stuff or whatever. A lot of times they'll say, "Oh, wear your jersey." Well,
yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that, and that's where it's all new, so kids don't know, and then coaches aren't involved, so they show up with their jersey. Next thing you know, there's a CIF related, and then are you worth it to advertise not wearing your jersey? Do we know who you are when you're not wearing your high school jersey? You know what I'm saying?
Makes
So,
sense, yeah.
So I think there's those different components that have to do with it. I know for a fact that we talked about that 7-on-7 club circuit. I think there's I don't know, and so I'm not going to say anything, but I think that there's money being exchanged for some of that stuff.
Okay.
We definitely know that our guys getting taken care of. In terms of they're not having to pay for travel and things like that, we know that for a fact. Well, that's a form of NIL in itself. That wasn't. They weren't able to do that years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, if anything more is happening to that, we wouldn't know about it because I wouldn't want to know about it because I don't know the rule specifically. So, but yeah, I think it's getting to that, and I do think maybe the elite, like if Caleb Williams was a senior in high school right now, there's no way
playing for you
or playing for anybody. There's no way that there wouldn't be some kind of with the hype that he has around him.
Yeah.
If he was a senior in high school, there's no way there wouldn't be any type of.
But the NIL is definitely real for our college guys that are playing college ball. Yeah,
it's
crazy.
It's changed the game, and I love it. I think it's great. I think it's good for it.
Have they talked about like some of their contracts with you?
Yeah. So.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's great, and I think the coolest part is it's called a collective, right? And so yes, we're talking about so and so's getting $1 million, great, you know what I'm saying, or Caleb Williams making $2 million, great, or whatever it is, right? That's great. But how many Caleb Williams is there in the country, right? But if you go to a school that has a collective, then everybody's getting a cut of it, and so you could be a freshman, you could be a starter, whatever. Now. In those particular schools, the starting quarterback is also going to have a separate NIL situation, a running back. But just to be somewhere where you're walking into a collective where, they have this much money, we're going to split it up amongst, the kids. And that's what I think a lot of these schools that don't have a lot of NIL support are trying to build up their collective so that they can at least offer that. And then from there, will their starting quarterback something, get their running back something. But
would you say like most D1 schools have to have some sort of NIL contract?
Yeah,
Power
you
5,
do,
yes.
because that transfer portal kind of can lead to schools taking from your guys if your NIL is not matching up to theirs.
So I'll give you an example. So you're starting running back, and you're not getting an NIL, and you just had a great year, right? Well, you want to stay there, right? But you know that if you jump in a portal, you're going to get paid. So you might go and talk to the necessary people and say, hey, look, man, like, I want to stay here. I don't want to leave, right? I just had a great year. Everything's good. But say however you want. You're going to have to pay me. I guess I don't know however they would say it. Because the reality, if they jumped in the portal, if they're a Power 5 running back and they just had a 1,000-yarder season, there's going to be another Power 5 school that's going to pay for that. And the school itself is not paying for it, right? It's the organizations that are supporting and boosters, if you will, of
the school's still keeping all that money.
And the other thing you think about is everybody's like, oh, well, so the more, and this is something that I've kind of observed, like the more advantageous the location, probably the less the NIL situation. The less advantageous the location is, probably more NIL, right? Because how do you get a kid to go to Lincoln, Nebraska, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Pay him.
I mean, and they've already sunk all this money into the facility. They have the best facilities. They have the, why? It's like, how are you going to get a kid from Miami, Florida, or,
L.A.,
Orange County, or Santa Monica?
But there's a flip side to that.
To the Midwest, unless there's beautiful facilities, beautiful dorm rooms, apartments, and now NIL. So
it's like it can be a pro and it can be a con for kids because like. You can go somewhere where the NIL situation might be the best for you, but that might not be the best football situation for you. So you may be financially or in that aspect, you may be in a better situation, but that might not be the best fit for you. That might not be the best staff or the best.
What if you're not looking to go pro and you're just trying to get some money, cash in before you're done?
Well, it's funny. So I just had this conversation with my son actually. I said it's funny. It's like you might see, 5-6 years ago, if you had a great season, you're cashing in. You're going to the NFL, right? Now, okay, like if you jump into the NFL, what if you don't get drafted? Or what if you get hurt in minicamp? Or what if you don't get drafted in the top 3 rounds? Or what? There's so many unknowns, right? Mm-hmm. But the college is saying if you don't go to the NFL, we'll give you $1 million. So are you going to give up the $1 million guarantee that's in your face versus taking the chance of making an NFL roster, which we all know is very difficult to do? Yeah. So I think you might see a lot of guys say, I'm going to come back for another year. Versus 5-6 years ago, like you have a great game and a bowl game, boom, you're out, And so I think that's kind of changed it too, where it's really brought guys back for their 5th or with COVID 6th year or 4th year, you know what I'm saying? Because before you had to go 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Now they were looking like, I'm just going to play 3 and get out. Well, after the 3rd year, if you're making a couple $1 million, do you really want to run to the NFL and potentially get paid $0,
Yeah.
And then, like you said, maybe I'm going to make some money and get my degree, and then I'm done. Yeah, absolutely. So why not stay all the way through, get made as much money as you want? But the reality is, how many kids before the NIL bled for their school, got injured for their school, did everything for their school, okay? Maybe didn't even graduate before their eligibility was up, so their scholarship is gone. They still didn't graduate. And now they have nothing to show for those 5 years that they, sweat and bled for this university who made hundreds of millions of dollars on their back. So, there's definitely a reason why the NIL came in.
Oh, yeah.
So now at least, okay, I didn't have my degree, but I made $3 million while I was there. If I'm smart with my money, I can figure that out. I can pay to get my degree still if I have another year or 2 to go. I don't have to go back to my same situation financially if that was a hardship. Yeah. And so anyways, I'm a huge fan of the NIL, so I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's switch gears. Do you guys have any role models as coaches growing up, or people that inspired you, or people that taught you lessons about, what it means to be a good coach?
Yeah, for sure. Coach Moon was my coach. He got me into coaching. He was one of the guys that we used to ride or die for. I mean, I had a few coaches growing up that were inspirational to me. I came from single mom household, so coaches always kind of play a different role in that type of situation. So it's always cool. I would go to college, Coach Moon still hitting me up, checking on me, even before I was balling out in college, just checking in to make sure you're good. And some of my college coaches too, they're super cool. They still check on me to this day. Now they come back and recruit some of our guys that we have at Pacifica. It always works, you know what I mean? It all comes back full circle. So for sure, even in track, coaches in different sports, you always remember people that had a real impact on you.
And what did those coaches teach you? What did you feel like stuck with you?
Off the top of my head, just not burning bridges. That's something that was just on the top of my head. Not burning bridges with people. Always treating everyone with the same level of respect, right? I'll treat the so-called walk-on player on my football team, I'll treat him with the same respect as the guy that starts right next to me. You know what I mean? Different little things like that. Always, no matter what the circumstances are, continuing to push forward. No one's going to feel sorry for you, so you got to find a way to make things happen. You learn things like that from coaches that set the right example.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've been coaching for a long time, but
I love learning from people. I really do. And so I have a handful of coaches that were mentor coaches to me. Early, so my main mentor coach, his name is George Contreras. Who's your mentor coach? That would be number one for me, and he taught me so many things. And the main thing that stands out to me for that guy is he just said, make sure that you do right by the kids in preparation. So make sure you prepare for every practice and every game, to where you're going to make mistakes in practice, you're going to make mistakes in the game, but make sure that you prepared them for every practice and every game, to where the mistakes weren't from the lack of preparation. And so that was huge. That was number one thing I learned. I learned so much from him. That was number one. Rick Scott, I had the honor of coaching with him before he passed. He actually passed in his last season coaching. I was coaching with him. He was mentoring me and a couple of the young coaches until he passed. And I took over for Donnie Ray at Pacifica. He's a phenomenal coach. And then I got to be honest with you, I I really look towards coaches that win, and I want to learn from them. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, locally, I talked to John Mack often. I know people. What I do. And then Jim Banker.
Who is John Mack?
He doesn't coach anymore, but he's won a lot of championships here in Ventura County, and a private school coach. So I know everybody's like, oh, what does he? But he's coached in public school, and the fact is, if you've won, you know something, right? And then Jim Banker, he just won a CF championship at Simi Valley. So again, not my mentor coaches, but guys that I kind of like pick their brains off and to try to learn from.
It's amazing that he mentioned Coach Contreras as one of the mentors that impacted him, because that was a coach he was on Coach Moon's staff when I was in high school, and he was one of my coaches, and I can remember a quote that he told me my senior year of high school. He was like, "Nothing is ever as good or as bad as it seems." He was like, "Nothing is ever as good or as bad as it seems," and that kind of stuck with me. To always, regardless if things are going great, to stay hungry, continue to strive forward, or if things didn't go your way, not to get too down on yourself. Yeah. That was big for me.
Yeah, he has some really good one-liners. The good coaching one-liners and stuff. So
you remember things. It seems like as a coach, sometimes you kind of tell yourself are these kids really even listening to what I'm telling them? But then now that I think back on it, I can remember one of my college coaches. He would tell us my senior year, my DB coach, Coach Brown. Shout out to Coach Brown. He's at UC Davis now. He would tell us, in a big game, you're not going to rise to the occasion. I hate when people say that. He would say, you're going to fall back to the level of your training. So however you train and practice, that's how you're going to play in a big game. You're not going to raise your game. No, when you get tired and it gets to the fourth quarter, you're going to fall back to the level of your training. So that kind of always pushed us in practice to continue to raise our level of play.
I think that's the best I've ever heard it.
That's really good, actually.
Yeah, he would be like, no, you're not going to rise to the occasion.
I sort of have the same, when kids don't know what to do on the soccer field, they go back to their defaults. But that's the same.
Exactly.
Better said.
That's true. Yeah.
So if you're lazy, for any kid that might watch us or whatever, if you have lazy habits, right, and you kind of don't address it, it'll come back to bite you in a tough time. It'll come back to haunt you. If you don't, you might be stubborn. Might not want to listen to what people tell you, but everything you do, it comes back full circle. So you'll fall back to your training. So
yes, facts.
What do you think makes a kid more coachable than another kid?
A kid that always wants to get better.
Yeah.
We've had players, some of the best players on our team listen more than anyone on the team. And they probably know as much as any kid on the team. But they just want to strive to continue to improve themselves. So there's also sometimes some kids where they think they know it all, right? And they think that they reached a level to where they got it down packed, right? And then they'll start to regress a little bit. So if you're hungry, if you have big aspirations and you trust the people around you, then you'll always be motivated.
And I love that. That's huge. And I think it's foremost. I just kind of doesn't answer, but it does answer. I think the culture affects it because even if so if you have a kid that's uncoachable, okay, or not coachable, right? I don't say uncoachable, but if they still play, right, it's going to affect the culture of your program. So the reality is if you have a naturally gifted kid, and I really agree, think every sport, right? And he's not coachable, and it's visible he's not coachable. It's verbal he's not coachable. Everybody's seeing he's not coachable, and the coach is still playing that kid. I think it's going to affect the culture. Whereas if your program is strong enough in any sport, or culture is strong enough where you could take your best player and say, "You're not being coached today. You sit out." Okay, we're not even gonna rep you, and we don't need you. We're gonna play the guys that are being coachable, and we're still gonna look good, and we're still gonna have fun, and it's still gonna be good intensity, it's still gonna be good tempo, and you could just watch from the side. And then we're gonna play on Friday. We're still gonna be good. We're still gonna play at a high level. We're still gonna have a great time, and you're not gonna contribute. Okay, and until you become coachable, or at least accept coaching. Maybe you're not, quote unquote, enjoying the coaching, but you're accepting it. Now we can join in, and now we'll win with you. And we'll probably be better because now our best player is contributing at the level that we need him to contribute. So I think naturally, maybe some kids are more coachable than others. I think that comes from home training, right? I think some kids are more coachable than others because they have the drive to get better, like Coach Marcus said. But I think as coaches, we need to control their coachability. I think we can't accept being uncoachable. We just can't.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed? Sometimes, I'll be at a park and a football team will be practicing. I've noticed that, the coaches, they're just so quick with the kids. They get them in line and they're so organized, and the kids really, respond. And They get in line so quickly. It's different. It's a different coaching culture than soccer. Much different coaching culture.
I can see that.
But it's tougher nowadays. I'm not gonna lie. As the years continue to progress, like society changes. You know what I mean? And so you have to be able to adjust to different kids. Different kids respond to different things different ways. So it's some kids that I might get the most out of him by getting on him. Like, you know what I mean? He's used to that at home. Like, get on him. Some kids where you might just have to talk to them in a cool tone, give them positive like reinforcement, positive encouragement. You know. And he responds better that way. Some kids might shut down if you get on them. So
50 years ago, you just yell at all of them and they jump in line, you know? So it's different. But you know, I think our coaching staff has done a really good job of, and I give them all credit for it. Like, so we live in a day and age where you can't coach like you're in the 1950s, right? But we have some really hard-headed, intense coaches that they're going to coach them like it's still in the 1950s. Not in a negative, derogatory way, but just get on them like intensely. But I think our coaching staff has done a really good job of, you know, before you could do that in a day and then send the kids home and let them think about it, right? Now we don't live in it. Like if you were overly hard on the kids, you better have a conversation with the group and maybe that coach should put his arm around that kid or that coach, you know what I'm saying? And make sure before they get into their parents' car that they know they're loved and they're taken care of and we're just challenging them and it's not personal. And so I think that's the difference of, you know, some coaches are just going to go away soft in 2023. Some coaches are still going to be that 1950 coach and get fired very quickly. And then, you know, the more successful coaches are going to learn how to navigate in being hard but still loving, like coaching them hard but loving them hard and making sure that before they leave that field, they know why things were said, why they were said, how they were said. And so they still get that intense coaching and intensity and that push. But still know it's not personal, right? They're still taken care of. They're still loved. They're coaches. We're still a family. Just you were in the wrong and I checked you type thing, you know? And so, but it's difficult. It's way more difficult today than ever before in terms of coaching. And, you know, but like I said, to be successful, you got to navigate through it. So
for sure. It's like finding the happy medium.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to, it's definitely a little tougher. You can't just be as crazy as back in the day. But we got to instill toughness into it. It's a violent game. So, you know, if the kids are going back and forth, chirping at each other in practice, or it's a physical day of practice, we're not a school that we're just gonna shut that down really fast. We might let the kids, you know what I mean, like go at it a little bit, and then we'll come love them up. We'll make them love each other up at the end of practice, things like that. But so it's like it's funny because some people might always think like they'll see like the social media and like our kids they're flashy and they're posting their pics and their videos and Pacifica like looks like this glamorous type thing, I guess, but it's like the atmosphere at practice is like very highly competitive, and we get after the kids, they get after each other. The best kids are going 100 miles per hour at the next best kid on the team. They're going against each other rather than shying away from each other. It's a pretty cool competitive atmosphere, and when colleges come and watch practice, they're like, oh shoot, this is the real deal.
Would you say you have more fun practice or coaching at practices or coaching games? Because for me, it's swapped. Practices are my most fun for some reason.
It's different, man. I can't.
That's tough.
I don't know if
game day for football is so much different than soccer.
I love. Really?
Because soccer, we just stand on the sideline during a game. You give them a couple of instructions, but it's not. You're very hands-off.
Yeah, same here. Like, we have a game plan that we go into the week with. By the time we get to Friday, we hope that the kids are locked in on the game plan and they know exactly what we want of them and the other team's tendencies and all of those things. But in football, you're still like coaching during the game, though. We're still, but it's not like getting on the kids. It's more like a instructor, not even instructor. It's more like
But no, for me, like it's a different fun. So I love Friday nights and the intensity of Friday nights. Right? It's like a whole different person. Right? I'm a whole different person. So I can't say that it's the same. It's different. I enjoy practice. I like joking with the kids, having a good time with the kids, you know. And there's a time to play, there's a time to work, and all this stuff. But I don't want to say we're loose, but we're loose at practice, right? So coaches joking with each other, kids joking with coaches, business when we need to, fun when we need to. So practice is fun in that sense. We're not doing that on Friday. Friday is about business, right? But I still enjoy it. So I can't say it's fun. It is fun when you win, but it's a part of the week that I love, right? You did all this work, right? And now you're getting paid. And so that's the good part. But I would say I have more fun at practice.
Yeah.
And then once we win, I'm having fun after
Yeah.
the game. You know, so so different. But I guess I would, if you're saying fun, I would say practice.
There's so much
Yeah.
so much developing at practice.
Yeah.
Relationships,
Yeah, for sure.
new
For sure.
schemes,
Game planning. Yeah, we watch
everything.
We break down and watch film and with the kids, with the staff like crazy. We go over tendencies. Like our kids are probably they probably get tired of watching so much film. Like we break it down to a science.
They got to give up their lunch to.
Yeah, and like it's like we give them like a college type atmosphere though. Like what they're gonna see at the next level. Like they saw you do this on film, so they're gonna try to do this, and we're gonna be ready for it. And like it's I can go way into detail about it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but it's kind of stressful at the same time. But I mean, it's fulfilling when it pays off on Friday nights.
Yeah. Coaching is very rewarding,
I
fulfilling.
love it. Yeah.
Well, guys, anything else you want to leave us with?
No.
Anything you want to talk about before we sign off?
Appreciate you for having us. It was cool.
Fun. Yeah.
And
Yeah. The top shot. Join the worlds of soccer and football world.
Yeah, well, it's it's athletics, it's coaching.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
and then if we have a podcast one day, we'll invite you on.
Yeah,
Tell us
yeah,
about
yeah.
your program. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always like, when people tell me they have podcasts or they're doing voiceovers, they're recording in some way, I always like, let me help you,
Yeah, heck yeah.
Because it's tough. All this stuff is,
Yeah, heck yeah.
you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's fun to talk shop. So
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get you out to a game next season. Come check us out.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. You guys do is there spring football? Like light
yeah.
stuff?
No, we do. It's not shoulder pads and helmets, but we like Marcus was saying, we try to copy how the colleges do things as much as possible. So we'll do like spring football with spring games and stuff like that. But we do
With like flags and stuff like
football.
that. But it's still
Okay.
competitive. We
Just
split the teams up even as we can as far as talent and try and make it like a competitive atmosphere.
So
It's cool.
yeah, but anytime you want to come by, check it out, and I want to introduce you to our soccer. We love our it's cool. Our football team and our soccer team at our school are really. We don't have a ton of really good sports at the school.
Our kickers and punters are our soccer players.
Yeah. So it's kind of
cool,
like
yeah.
the coaches all get along, and he's actually. I joke around. I was like, "You coach soccer like a football coach."
yeah.
He takes it as a compliment. He's a really good young dude, but a really good guy. So
And our girls program was really good too.
Yeah,
Our girls
so that's
soccer.
cool.
Girls soccer?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to get him on.
yeah, for sure. So,
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you
for sure.
guys for
Awesome,
coming
man.
on.
Thanks for having us.
Coach
Thank
Mike,
you.
Coach Marcus.
Yes,
That's
sir.
Oxnard Pacifica.
Yes, sir.
The Tritons.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.